It's hard to imagine a family more famous for their secrets than the Browns. For years, Robyn Brown stood in the spotlight, tears streaming, always the one pleading for peace, always painted as the misunderstood outsider. But what happens when the mask slips and the truth comes pouring out? Not from tabloids or jealous exes, but from her own daughters. This isn't just another sister-wife scandal. This is the moment the entire foundation of Robyn's carefully crafted image crumbles, and the world finally sees what's been hiding in plain sight. The betrayal isn't just between wives or ex-husbands. It's a mother and her children, a family and their audience, a network and its most controversial star. Hi, friends. I'm Sophie, and you're watching TLC's Sister Wives Recaps. If you've ever wondered what really goes on behind those closed doors, you're in the right place. Make sure you hit subscribe and drop your thoughts in the comments, because today, we're pulling back the curtain on the biggest truth bomb this family has ever faced. Robyn, her daughters, Meri, Janelle, Christine, and even TLC itself. No one escapes untouched. Let's get into it. From the very first episode, the Brown family sold America a vision of unity that felt almost impossible. 4 wives, 1 husband, and a promise that love could stretch wide enough to hold everyone. Cody, the charismatic patriarch, always at the center, and his wives, Meri, Janelle, Christine, and finally Robyn, each brought their own energy to the mix. But it was Robyn's arrival that changed everything. She entered the family as the youngest wife, the one who seemed to want nothing more than harmony. She cried easily, apologized often, and spoke about family like it was a sacred calling. TLC's cameras loved her. Fans either adored her or saw her as the ultimate disruptor. But no one could ignore her. Robyn's image as the peacekeeper became her shield. Whenever conflict flared, she was the first to reach for a tissue. The first to say she just wanted everyone to get along. She talked about blending families, about forgiveness, about being misunderstood. For years, that narrative worked. Even as Christine's frustration grew, even as Meri's loneliness deepened, even as Janelle quietly pulled away, Robyn's tears and soft words kept her at the center of sympathy. She was the one who tried, the one who cared, the one who suffered most when things fell apart. But behind the scenes, the cracks were always there. Fans noticed the subtle power shifts, the way Cody seemed to favor Robyn, the way her children got more attention, the way the other wives' voices faded. Social media buzzed with theories, but the show kept the official story neat. Robyn, the peacemaker, holding a fractured family together. All the while, tension simmered just out of frame, waiting for the moment when the truth would finally break through. It started as just another quiet morning in Flagstaff, the kind of day TLC crews had filmed 100 times before. Robyn sat in her living room, mug in hand, surrounded by the familiar hum of cameras and crew. The plan was simple: gather some background footage for a future recap. No drama, no big reveals, but as the crew set up, Robyn's guard slipped. She was on the phone with her sister, her voice low and sharp, not realizing her microphone was still live. The words that spilled out were nothing like the gentle, wounded Robyn viewers had come to expect. She mocked the other wives' struggles, rolled her eyes at Janelle's financial worries, and dismissed Meri's pain as self-inflicted. She even hinted that Cody's public heartbreak was just for show, a performance for the cameras. The tone was cold, calculated, and so far from the peacekeeper image that it stunned everyone in the room. The producer's face said it all. This wasn't just a slip. This was a confession. The footage made its way to TLC's editing bay, and suddenly, the network faced a crisis. Air it and risk a lawsuit? Bury it and protect Robyn's reputation? The decision was made for them when a junior editor, unable to sit on something so explosive, leaked the clip online. Within hours, the internet was on fire. Hashtags exploded across Twitter and Reddit. YouTube channels dissected every second. Fans who had defended Robyn for years felt betrayed. Those who'd always doubted her felt vindicated. Inside the Brown family, the fallout was immediate and brutal. Janelle's son found the video first and sent it to his mom. Meri watched it alone, her face a mix of disbelief and heartbreak. Christine, who had long suspected there was more to Robyn's tears, finally, the shockwave from that leaked footage hit every corner of the Brown family. For Meri, it was like a final, brutal confirmation of every suspicion she'd tried to push aside. She watched Robyn's words in silence, then posted a cryptic message on Instagram that had fans buzzing, "A wolf in sheep's clothing is still a wolf." The comment section exploded with support and heartbreak. Janelle, always the steady one, was visibly shaken. She didn't rush to social media, but those close to her said she spent hours just staring at her phone, replaying the video, trying to process the betrayal. When she finally spoke out, it was with a quiet dignity. She said she'd always believed in giving people the benefit of the doubt, but some things you just can't ignore. Christine, who had already walked away from the family, felt a strange mix of relief and anger. For years, she'd been painted as the problem, the one who couldn't get along, the one who was too emotional. Now, with Robyn's own words out in the open, Christine's instincts were finally validated. She didn't gloat. Instead, she spoke directly to fans, thanking them for their support and urging everyone to remember that healing takes time, even when the truth is finally out. But the most heartbreaking reactions came from Robyn's own children. Aurora and Brianna, who had always defended their mom, suddenly found themselves questioning everything. Aurora posted a short, raw message online. Sometimes the truth hurts more than the lies. Brianna stayed quiet at first, but friends noticed she stopped liking her mom's posts and started following Christine and Janelle instead. The family group chat, once full of updates and inside jokes, went silent. Meanwhile, social media was a wildfire. Hashtags like Robyn exposed and sister wives scandal trended for days. Fans who had once argued fiercely in Robyn's defense now turned on her, dissecting every past episode for signs they'd missed. The tide of public opinion shifted almost overnight. Robyn, once the face of sympathy, became the symbol of manipulation. The Brown family's dirty laundry was out for everyone to see, and the internet wasn't about to let it go. Robyn didn't disappear quietly. As the backlash grew, she tried to reclaim her story, first with a tearful Instagram live from her bedroom. She insisted the leaked footage was taken out of context, that she'd been venting in a private moment, and that TLC had twisted her words to make her look like a villain. She begged viewers to remember her years of trying to hold the family together. But the comments were relentless. People wanted accountability, not more tears. Next came the legal threats. Robyn's lawyer sent a formal notice to TLC, accusing the network of defamation and emotional distress. She demanded the footage be removed and threatened a multi-million-dollar lawsuit. TLC's response was swift and cold. Robyn had signed releases for all behind-the-scenes content, and the network had the receipts, emails, contracts, and even messages where Robyn herself had suggested certain storylines. The lawsuit fizzled before it even began, leaving Robyn looking desperate and isolated. Still, she wasn't done. Robyn announced a memoir promising to share her real truth about life in the Brown family. Early excerpts leaked online, and instead of winning sympathy, they sparked more outrage. She blamed Christine for spiritual sabotage, accused Meri of emotional abuse, and painted herself as the only true victim. Even her daughters were described as being manipulated by outsiders. The book's release was met with scathing reviews and a trending hashtag, #sacred lie. Robyn's last stand was a series of live streams, each one more emotional than the last. She pleaded for understanding, but the audience had already made up its mind. Every attempt to rewrite the story only made things worse. The more she tried to control the narrative, the more the truth slipped out of her hands. The sympathy she'd once commanded was gone, replaced by a wave of public scrutiny she couldn't escape. TLC saw the writing on the wall. The old formula, Robyn's tears, Cody's justifications, the endless cycle of apologies, just didn't work anymore. Viewers were tired of the same story, and the ratings proved it. So, the network made a bold move. Instead of circling the wagons around Robyn and Cody, they shifted the spotlight to the women who had spent years in the background: Meri, Janelle, and Christine. The announcement came early one Monday morning. TLC was launching a brand new series, one that would follow the lives of the 3 original wives as they rebuilt, healed, and found their own voices outside of Cody's shadow. No more forced family dinners or staged reconciliations. This time, it was about real growth, real independence, and the messy, beautiful process of starting over. Fans were ecstatic. Social media lit up with excitement, and the first teaser for the new show broke streaming records. But the biggest surprise was the inclusion of Robyn's daughters, Aurora and Brianna. For the first time, the girls were given space to share their own experiences, without their mother's filter. Their interviews were raw and honest, filled with pain, but also hope. They talked about what it was like growing up in a house where loyalty was demanded, not earned, and how it felt to finally speak their truth. Their courage struck a chord with viewers who had watched them grow up on screen. TLC's gamble paid off. The new direction brought a wave of support for Meri, Janelle, and Christine, who were finally seen as more than just supporting characters in Robyn's story. The daughters' voices added a layer of authenticity that the show had been missing for years. For the first time, it felt like the real story was finally being told. When Aurora and Brianna finally spoke out, it was like a dam breaking. For years, viewers had watched them as kids, sometimes shy, sometimes caught in the middle, always fiercely loyal to their mom. But now, as young adults, they stepped into the spotlight with a kind of honesty that no one saw coming. Their voices didn't shake. They didn't sugarcoat. They talked about the pressure to defend Robyn at all costs, the confusion of watching their family fall apart, and the pain of realizing that the person they trusted most wasn't always telling the truth. Aurora described the constant tension in the house, the way every disagreement was swept under the rug, and how she was taught to see the other wives as threats rather than family. She admitted that for a long time, she believed everything her mom said, about Christine, about Meri, about Janelle. But as she got older, the cracks became impossible to ignore. She started to see the patterns, the favoritism, the manipulation, the way Robyn's tears could change the course of an entire family meeting. Aurora's confession was raw, and it hit home for anyone who's ever questioned their own reality. Brianna's story was just as powerful. She talked about feeling isolated, about the guilt of wanting to reach out to her siblings from the other wives, and the heartbreak of realizing that her loyalty had been used as a weapon. She said there were nights she cried herself to sleep, wondering if she was the problem, if she was the reason the family couldn't heal. But in the end, she found her own voice. On the phone. She said, "I love my mom, but I can't protect her from the truth anymore." Their revelations changed everything. Suddenly, the story wasn't just about feuding wives or a crumbling marriage. It was about children forced to choose sides, about the cost of secrets, and about the courage it takes to break free from a narrative that never really fit. The emotional weight of Aurora and Brianna's honesty was undeniable. Fans rallied around them, offering support and sharing their own stories. For the first time, the cycle of silence was broken. Not by adults, but by the very kids who had lived through it all. Robyn's world shrank almost overnight. The woman who once commanded sympathy and attention now found herself alone, her every move scrutinized and criticized. Former supporters faded away, and even those who once defended her on social media stopped showing up in the comments. The public humiliation was relentless. Paparazzi caught her running errands alone, head down, no camera crew in sight. Her Instagram went dark, her book was quietly pulled from shelves, and TLC scrubbed her from official cast lists. The silence was deafening. Meanwhile, the rest of the family began to breathe again. Meri, Janelle, and Christine, no longer weighed down by Robyn's drama, started to rebuild. They found strength in each other and in their children, who were finally free to speak their minds. The new show captured moments of laughter, honest conversations, and the kind of healing that only comes after years of pain. Fans watched as the women stepped into their own power, supporting each other in ways the old family dynamic never allowed. The cultural impact was huge. Viewers saw firsthand how manipulation and control can hide behind a mask of vulnerability, and how important it is to listen to the voices of those who've been silenced. The collapse of Robyn's public persona became a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked power and the strength it takes to break free. In the end, the real story wasn't about scandal, it was about survival, truth, and the hope that comes with starting over. Watching this all unfold, I can't help but feel a mix of sadness and relief. For so long, it felt like the truth was just out of reach, buried under years of tears and carefully chosen words. Seeing Aurora and Brianna finally speak up, watching Meri, Janelle, and Christine step into the light, it's powerful. It's a reminder that even in the messiest families, honesty can still win out. I know a lot of you have followed this journey from the very beginning, and maybe you've seen pieces,